It's Cofield and Company's Eye on Sports Gambling, presented by Oasis Bar and Grill, only on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Wonderful setting today. Circa Sports, music on point. Got all the big screens here. The 3-story sports book. Brad Powers is in. I see the smirk. You know what I was doing there. What's up, Brad?
You know me well.
Yes. Adam Hill is here as well. As much as I like getting picks from you, I also like hearing your review of games. So let's talk about the national championship. I don't think there's anything urgent that we're betting on moving forward, although this will go on the memory banks on players who played in the game or are still around. Give me your review, first of all, on the Notre Dame side and why it didn't work out for the Irish.
I didn't work out because finally the injuries caught up to Notre Dame. Besides being already the less talented team, I mean, it's just, when you're playing a team with very few weaknesses like Ohio State playing their best football of the season, I mean, you just, you can't make mental mistakes. They made a few of them on offense, out of position on defense, but the better team clearly won. I mean, Notre Dame, I think people say a dream season. I mean, they had 7 starters out for the year. So, I mean, it's a dream season, the fact that they made it. But, I mean, the fact that they got there, it says to the quality depth that Marcus Freeman's recruited the last 3-4 years. And it actually could have been better if they were healthy. So that's probably on the Notre Dame side. I don't think they're going away. Now, I don't know how many times they're going to play for the national championship. But I see this program perennial playoff contender.
I mean, listening to the pregame and hearing about all the injuries and, like, even the offensive line, it's like they had true freshmen starting at left tackle. Then Jagasaw is going to switch from right to left, and he's a redshirt freshman. It's like they do have young guys. Now, they might lose some in the portal. And here's the other problem, and I've documented this the last 2 days, and I'm sure you know about it. Notre Dame is in the top 8 listed for the national title next year. But, my Lord, coming out of the gates, the schedule is just a bunch of kicks in the teeth. It's a tough schedule.
Yeah, Miami opening up, and then A&M's your second game. So it's going to be tough. But, I mean, look, they finally proved that they belong at the national stage. Just got done beating Indiana, Georgia, and Penn State, and, gave Ohio State as good of a game as, the other teams obviously did, maybe even better than the teams in the playoff. On the Ohio State side, they just finally lived up to expectation. I mean, I still – it's mind-boggling to me. My biggest takeaway from that game is – how in the hell, again, did Ohio State lose to Michigan? I know Northern Illinois over Notre Dame was the bigger upset, but that one's kind of excused because they're flat. They're playing Northern Illinois. You're off A&M. How are you flat against Michigan, your rival that's beating you 3 in a row? That was my takeaway, because had Ohio State beat Michigan, we'd be talking about – I know some people are, but I would be talking about Ohio State being an all-time great team.
This is a bit meta, I guess, in terms of a question, but coming out of this season, is there anything we learned about – maybe future markets, betting playoff teams after, certain spots where, hey, Notre Dame loses to Northern Illinois. Maybe you take advantage there. Don't overreact, to the market or to the, to one loss, or Ohio State losing that game to Michigan and still saying, okay, this is still the best team. Maybe take advantage there. Like, is there lessons that were learned out of this season?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think those are the lessons to be learned, that there are some spots that we've never had in the history of college football before. That you can, Ohio State in any other year would have been eliminated. Notre Dame would have been eliminated, losing to Northern Illinois in week 2. Instead of me personally, and then people want to follow suit, I'm probably less inclined to bet a lot of futures in the summer. Why not, wait and I can catch Ohio State after a loss or 2, or Notre Dame off a loss. I'd rather jump into the futures market then to win the title, make the playoff, whatnot, than tying up my money for 10 months.
The odds are up for, like you just said, you're probably not going to bet these. Wait to see if they endure a loss. The odds are up for title next year. Ohio State, Georgia, Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson. The majority of those schools are actually going to, we think, roll out not only a new quarterback, but a young quarterback. And there's still a part of me that thinks, man, some of these programs are going to look around in the spring, and I don't know how they would remedy it that late, but they got to be looking at it right now. Like, are we really going to go with, the CJ Carrs and Dante Moores of the world? I'm fascinated to see what big programs do. Are they finally going to let a younger guy get the chance?
Another good question. I don't have the answer. I guess they're going to let spring play out and see if they have the answer. I know a lot of the programs probably don't want to go to the portal every single season, because how are you building, some chemistry Because, well, let's face it, Notre Dame was more team chemistry, even though they had a transfer quarterback this year. Michigan winning a title was more chemistry over just buy. I know Ohio State spent $20 million, but they spent $20 million mainly because of roster retention. Not like they went out and got 25 starters through the portal. At some point, you got to build, through high school recruiting, like what was good in college football for 100 years. But with that being said, I expect a few of those teams you've mentioned, probably post-spring, one or two, you got to go out and get somebody maybe, because the likely thing to happen is there's going to be quarterback battles in the spring. There'll probably be a leader, and the guy that's not the leader is going to transfer out. So, I mean, you're going to have to get a quarterback regardless just for depth.
So people look at that spring window and they're like, no big deal. Like, it could be a really big freaking deal. The other thing is, how do you budget NIL when you don't really know what the rules are until the House finishes up what the hell they're doing?
Rules? I don't know if there's any rules.
I know. Well, there's certainly one of the things I love. Hey, the offseason, one of the things we're really going to discuss is tampering. It's going to get worse, and you can't stop it.
Yeah. I think if you got the money, you spend it. So that's the rules right now. Because Ohio State just showed you spend some money, player retention, go out and get some quality starters. I can be right there in the mix. So that's what I would do if I was in charge.
I've been joking about one guy, and I'll take it to another level. If South Carolina can get sellers to take like remote classes in Australia and be out of touch from everyone, they better do it. Because there's like 7 schools that'll be like, you're making what, $2.5 million at South Carolina? 5. Let's go. Come on.
And you're touching a good point. I think it sounds like a lot right now, but I think we'll look back at it and say, a couple million for starting a quality top 10 starting quarterback in college football for a couple million was on the cheap end, because I would guess in a few years they're going $5+ million, maybe even $10 million for the elite of the elite. But here's what I got to say though about that. I mean, that's great. Quarterback's worth everything, but if you got a quarterback making $10 million and a starting, right guard making $100,000, I think that's going to lead to some issues in the locker room.
The Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino is the place for football. Start your Sunday with us at the Superbook. Watch both conference championship games on a huge 4K video wall with free admission and free parking.
Oh, okay.
Sunday for the conference championships at the Westgate with ESPN Las Vegas.
If you're struggling with weight and frustrated with dieting each and every year, Mark Patrick Seminars can help. Join the over 500,000 people who have attended Mark Patrick Seminars with feel great weight loss results. Mark Patrick Seminars will be in Las Vegas on Thursday, February 6th.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I've lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
Early bird special only $49.99. Lose all the weight you want 100% guaranteed. Thursday, February 6th at the Santa Fe Station Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas. Weight loss seminars at 5:30 p.m. with registration at 5. Attend this program and find out how the power of hypnosis can help you achieve your weight loss goals. There's limited seating, so get there early. Learn more at markpatrickseminars.com.
Now, back to Cofield Company, live from Victory Burger, inside the Circa Resort and Casino.
Let's continue our conversation. Brad Powers 7 Up on Twitter was dropping a nugget. And the great thing is, none of us went like full Courtney Cronin. Remember her she still worked for ESPN Radio, just dropping F-bombs because of a tech issue. I don't think Brad did. Brad, you were getting into, you know what? I don't even know where the hell we were because I was yelling and screaming. You finished up what you were saying. You remember?
Oh, I was just saying the issue, I think quarterbacks will end up being worth eventually probably $10 million a year, believe it or not. The problem is the quarterback's making $10 million and the starting right guard's making $100,000. I think that could lead to some issues.
Good luck with that in the locker room. I love what's going on here, and I'm going to say this again. In Major League Baseball, Sasaki and Tanner Scott go to the Dodgers, and the other owners are like, this is crap. We give up. College football? Oh, no. Like, this northern aggression, as we'll call it, on the South. Watch how the South reacts. They're not going to act like some billionaire in Major League Baseball. Like, oh, what can we do? They're going to spend. They're going to be hyper aggressive.
They are, but I'll tell you what. I mean, obviously we're heading towards a salary cap type of thing. That's what we're heading to. But until we get to that point, there's obvious rules and regulations. I got to tell you, if it just comes down to who can spend the most, the North's got more money than the South. This ain't no different than the Civil War in 1865, why the North won. They squeezed out the South. And you don't have to be Einstein to figure it out. Go look at the endowment list and see how much more money schools like Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Notre Dame have compared to the Alabamas and Tennessees of the world. It's substantial. It's like 3x in some instances. So if it just becomes about spending money, the North's got more. So here's what I can safely say. The SEC is still the deepest conference, and they're not going away. But their dominance of winning like 14 out of 15 national championships, that's going away.
Yep. More balance. They got to go through the gauntlet. They don't have backups now because the backups leave. How about the way the bracket is right now? Do you want a really quick change? You want to get more evidence on this? The betting favorites won in the end, 10 of the 11 games?
Yeah, but the seeds didn't, obviously. And the Vegas knows what they're doing compared to the seeds. Just rank the teams accordingly. I don't think an automatic. Like, I'm fine with Boise getting in. I'm fine with Arizona State getting in. But automatic 3 and 4 seeds, I think it's got to go. I'll tell you another thing I'd change. I think because obviously the TV ratings for Notre Dame, Ohio State were disappointing. I think what you need to do is the week after conference championships, that's the first round. Then, right at the week after that, you got the quarterfinals. Then the semifinals should be played on January 1st, not the quarterfinals, the semifinals. And then a week after that, you can have the title. So the season went too long. And I think the viewership showed that.
Adam, last minute here. Set up this topic we started yesterday with a generational talent comment by Titans Brass.
Yeah, the Titans were kind of asked about trading the number 1 pick, and they said, well, you don't do that if there's a generational talent in the draft. And a lot of people ran to say, well, there must be one in their mind. That's why they're saying that. I didn't really read it that way. I read it, you don't trade it away if there is a generational talent. But the betting market has responded very immediately to rush to bet Travis Hunter because that would be the quote-unquote generational talent in their mind. I mean, just from a betting perspective, this is a strange thing, right? I mean, to just interpret some words and say, all right, we're making these bets based on a random comment at a press conference.
Yeah, but what else can you bet it on? I mean, it's just all the NFL draft is just information based, and it's not like it takes a lot of money to move a market substantially. Right? Maybe 10 grand moved it that much at a few spots. Not like one individual guy could get down on that much. So I understand it. Do I think Travis Hunter's a generational talent? No, that's usually reserved for the quarterback position. And if there's a generational talent in college football, we saw it on Monday night. It's a wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith.
Brad, we appreciate it. Sorry about the limited time with the tech issue. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Take care, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man.
There's a guy, Brad Powers. BradPowerSports.com, Brad Powers 7. Remind me in mid-April, if I have not played this market for the top 4 picks and I don't have everything covered with a plus number, I am an idiot. This is going to be the most tumultuous lead up to a draft. And we can take advantage of the fact these rumors come out. There's freaking smoke screens. You can get these guys all over the board and make plus. I think it's the way it's happened the last couple of years.
Yeah, you want to spread around to a bunch of plus numbers, and hopefully you have those positions riding into draft night, and you're doing well.
5 o'clock hours on the way. We'll check in on what's going on with the Raiders, with John Spytek, with the head coaching search, and other rumors around the National Football League. Paul Gutierrez on the way.
Did you miss the arena?
But there's always a flag. Bengals game, there's a flag. I mean, there's always a flag when the Chiefs are about to lose.